All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to go over how AMC trades backwards, like exactly what I'm kind of talking about. But what it did is kind of exactly this. It rolled over, and that's kind of typical, I guess. Kind of repeats this pattern, but then it finds support and then breaks through it, right? But what I really would have expected in a normal stock is just kind of, we had like a cup and handle here, a bigger cup and handle. I would have just suspected that from here we just broke to the top of the range, and if we rejected, we would have just traded inside here and then hit this, maybe this met up with this trend line today and then just broke through, right? But for me, AMC always throws me off because it does this crap. It it'll it'll do its handle here and then its outside move here and then fail and then hit this and then break out. So it's kind of, you know what I mean? Instead of having, let me show you what I mean. Let me copy and paste it. But yeah, it always like, it's like, what? It's always kind of like, what? So let's just grab this cup part, right? So I just use the snipping tool to do this because I wish Thinkorswim would have like better. So you had this, right? This cup and handle, right? So to me, a normal stock would have popped up here, right? And then rejected, and then just kind of went sideways in here, right? And then we would have probably hit this trend line and moved, right? But what does AMC do? That's normal, right? This is when, I've been doing this a long time. What does AMC do? It does kind of the handle here, and then it false breaks, and then it slams into this, and then it probably moves, right? So it's a broadening pattern. So it's always kind of doing like a broadening pattern overall, right? And then it moves. So that's kind of what it did here. Kind of broadens, and then it kind of breaks. So it's kind of doing the same thing in its own way. So it makes it very hard to call, when you're expecting this pop and then consolidate inside that range and then hit the trend line and then break out, right? So you understand what I'm saying by trades backwards, right? So let's look at the overall picture and look where we're at today and look where, if they want to delay it, the worst case. So this trend line, like the lowest part of it when I put it on a lower time frame is 258. But on the higher time frames, it's like 260, 261. So just like sweep it, I don't want to sit here for a day or another hour. Just sweep it and go. Reverse. So I still expect a rip tomorrow. So we've held this kind of rising parabolic trend line. Why is it parabolic? Because it's much steeper than this accumulation channel and much steeper than this lower kind of trend line. But we've just kind of just been climbing it, right? But we haven't like tested the top side of it. But it's ended up forming this bigger like kind of cup and handle, right? And we've already kind of done this kind of pop and roll over, and that's what we kind of completed today. This pop and roll over, and now we tested this trend line or close to it, maybe 258 would just finish the deal and we just rip. So overall, you could say we're complete. We've completed this whole pattern even longer than this pattern here. But what you need to do is we tried to break out once, twice. Now we pull back to this trend line. Now we just need to break the third try, right? So let me blow that up just a tad bit just to show you what I mean. So if you say you have a bigger cup and handle, and the handle is backwards because that's the way AMC does it. So you could say you had a rising wedge and then you had a attempted breakout here of this pattern, a failed breakout here, so you took an A, B, C correction. Do we need to extend a little? I don't think so, but I would say that. I think 257, 256 for a real quick sweep, or even 258 would be okay. Kind of like this one here where you swept and then gapped up. But anything, maybe we gap down tomorrow and just start mooning. I don't know. But the pattern's complete. The timing's complete for the most part. This cooled off, this kind of TTM squeeze. Do we need to have a big dilution event? I don't think so. The last time this kind of cooled off, we kind of didn't go any lower, and then we started pressing higher. But basically for this top level, we filled it out, right? And now we're testing the bottom of the range here. See this top candle here where the dilution started? We're right here. That's at 259. Kind of the meeting of these two solid candle bodies. It's at 258, 259. So we're tapping the wick here at 263, 262. Why not just hit the solid body candle and then take off from 258? So do we just open lower tomorrow and take off? That's what I think can happen. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the markets or anything. They're like hitting all-time highs and stuff. There's nothing wrong with the stock. It just needed a pullback. Apparently, it pulled back to the 9 EMA, and then if you look at the 1 hour, it's pulled back to standard levels, right? The bottom of this range right here. So we've kind of been chopping in this range, and we just hit the bottom. If today we're going to do like an outside key reversal, then we just go up and close toward the top of this range. And that's a very powerful reversal bar. That would probably cause a gap up. But where we sit right now, I would say either, I don't know. But I still think we go tomorrow. Based on everything that I see and everything that's complete, the apex of this whole thing would be like up to next week, right? So the worst case, we'll just chop in here until next week. But that doesn't seem very characteristic of AMC, right? It's just to chop and then break out. No, it usually has a slam down day and then it takes off. Right? So yeah, if today we don't close up here, somewhere up in this range above 274, anything above 274 would be a neutral to slightly bullish close today. Anything above like 284, 285 would be pretty bullish because all you have to do is kind of break this 286 area and you should be confirming this pattern, right? And then on my bigger head and shoulders on some of my other charts, I have 287 as kind of the breakout. And then on like the Ichimoku cloud, there's like, some other stuff. But let me go down to the low time frame and show you what I mean about the 258 sweep. Yeah, see how this upper trend line on the lower time frames showing up right under 260. Maybe like it's kind of fat. So I'd give it the benefit of the doubt to 258 or maybe even 255. Yeah, what I wanted to see is when you're doing this sort of falling, you're like bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, break. Why don't you just break down and finish the pattern and then moon, So did the ABC correction start from here? So I have this 260 right at the bottom of the range. So anything 260, if we come off of it, start ripping, still could qualify as an outside key reversal day. And these are the days, guys, remember back at 161 when I was going, hey, we should hold 175. And then we just dropped straight to 161 and then ripped at 180 that day, I think. I can't call those days so good because I'm always trying to call the pivots and ranges. But when it goes outside it to the bottom of the range and then rips to the top of the range all in the same day, that's very bullish overall. It's a big sweep. And then it closes toward the middle or top of the range. So it coats the whole range. You went to the bottom and then you rally back all the way to the mid or top of the range. So it creates a bull shakeout and a bear trap all in the same day. And those are great days. And AMC typically does those before it reverses. Sweeps to the low of the range and then rallies back to the top. So it scares the bulls and then traps the bears. And then it starts rallying, right? So I wouldn't mind that. And whether it's off 260, 258, it just needs to decide we're running out of time today. And then just go, So that's all I'm looking at. Yeah, I've been kind of saying, like, beginning of the month, it's all kind of suspicious. A lot of times on a monthly open, a stock likes to go in the previous month's range and test some things. And we had to do that, I guess. So, and then once you find support in the previous month's range, then you want to break over the top last monthly close was at 282, right, on Friday. So once you break over kind of that 282, you can just be bullish, right? So on a monthly basis. So whatever we do here, let's just get over 282 tomorrow and go.